Okay, welcome to week 4. I think I am recording. Yep. So we are good there. And it's just me and Chris again. So the rest of you slackers, feel free to join us next week, because if not, it'll be me by myself because Chris has a show. But anyway, so this week's call is all about recruiting. This is something that I feel like is a very important topic to cover because it goes with our 4 pillars of success. And when you are able to start building a team and really working with your team and learning how to train and work with a new person, that is going to help your business grow, because now you don't have to do all the work by yourself. Now you have that fun team mentality where, you've got a goal, you're going to hit it, and then you're going to make a little bit of extra money, and then they're going to be happy because they're making some really good money too. So let me click on this and see if it'll go forward. All right, so we're halfway there. Actually, we're a little over halfway because last week was week 3. So today is week 4. So we have reached that bridge point where we are over. Okay, so here is a recap of what we've learned so far. So far, we've hopefully learned how to increase our product knowledge so we can maximize sales and bookings. We've learned that your belief decides what you can and cannot do, and that your brain can be retrained. It's not as smart as you think it is. You learned how to talk to people while you're out and about, how to book parties at your shows, and words to say for both of those while you're out and about and while you're doing your full service checkout. And Chris got to observe one of my shows this past week, so hopefully he's not totally scared off by the way I do a party. So he'll actually try the station style show that he hasn't tried yet. Hopefully you've learned how to, oh, by the way, the past host put in a $270 order with me yesterday before her 50% off item.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and they haven't gotten a final word on the sale of the house yet, so they're still negotiating.
Okay.
So she's like, we're gonna need it anyways. He has a rental out there. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then she's got her mom's order came through. That was about 130, and then she's got a lady at work who needs a bunch of stuff. So I'm like, all right, so she'll probably end up at 600 or 700.
That's great.
Off of 3 people.
Yeah, that's right.
So definitely not a bad little show. But see, my shows are different because I'm more relational. So I'm there for the fun, and then I want them to think of me as a friend. So that way, if they're like, oh, my friend Christina, you should call her. I love those referrals. Okay, so you've learned that your passion shines through and completely influence purchases and bookings. I definitely learned that at my show. So Elaine came and observed my show on Saturday, and that one only had 4 people there. But I talked up the rock crock because I was using the rock crock and the deep covered baker, and I sold 2 rock crocks full price. To 2 of the 4 guests that were there each bought a rock crock. The other one bought a deep covered baker because we use that full price. And it's all about how you are passionate about what you're selling and what it can do, and giving them other opportunities. So that one was a really fun one to sit there and then when I left, they were playing. When I left, they were playing board games. I was like, oh, how fun is this? They were setting up for board games. We could totally be friends. Hopefully, you've learned how to host coach effectively to keep your sales high, keep your bookings at every party up, and to have a constant pool of leads, and that your skills make a huge difference in every party, no matter what you're doing. Again, my philosophy is host coaching is where you earn your paycheck. You go to the party to pick it up. It's a little bit different when you're doing virtual parties because you're working the whole time. But so before we move on to the next step, do you have any questions about host coaching?
I don't at this point.
Cool. All right. So today we're going to talk about recruiting. This one is my absolute favorite topic. And I don't know if you actually know the story of how I promoted to director.
I don't.
Okay. So I started my Pampered Chef business in July of 2011. And so I'm coming up on 6 years. So July 28th will be my 6 years with Pampered Chef. But when I started in July, Nicole, I don't know if did you meet Nicole Garcia? Long blonde hair?
At some point, I think, possibly.
Okay. She came to our April training, I think. So, but I don't know if you were there. The big promotion, the director promotion training, were you there?
No.
Okay, well, she came to that one.
Okay.
But so Nicole Garcia came and did my party for me, and I'd already, I just signed up the day before my party because she told me that if I signed up, I would get both the host credit and get all the free products as a host, but I'd also make the money as a consultant. I said, okay, let's do that. So at my show, 2 people signed up to be consultants, like right there at the show.
Wow.
I was like, what? I don't know what I'm doing. Why are you doing this too? So I had 2 people that signed up that July. Actually, I think they both signed up in August. So my party was the end of July. They signed up in August, and then probably sometime between then, no, and then I didn't add a single team member again until January. So January, I added 2 people to my team the very end of January. So I had 4 people because the other 2 were still selling stuff and hadn't rolled off. So we go to conference. We used to have these regional conferences. So they would come to us, either Orlando or Tampa. Were you around back then or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to the one in Tampa a long time ago.
Okay, so I think it was when they came to Orlando. There was a lady who got up and spoke in February of 2015 about how she was a hospitality person because her director, the person who signed her, didn't want to have anything to do with her. She had no support system. And here she is 1 year later, and 2 rows of people stand up. And she's talking about how she's built her team and she fast-tracked to director and she got connected with home office and how you can do this and how so much support she's gotten from other people in the company instead of the person who added her. And I'm thinking, I have a great support system. Why aren't I doing this? So it was that conference was February 5th. At that point, my 2 girls that signed up at the end of January hadn't even done a show yet. So I came back from that conference so pumped up. I added 4 people to my team in February because I was super, super excited and passionate about what Pampered Chef could do for people. I was like, we got to do this. So at that point, I had 4 new people, my 2 people that were signed up in January and my 2 people that were there from August when I had first started. And that month in February, with 20 days left in the month, 23 days left in the month, I had back then you had to have 6 active team members, not just 5.
Right.
So it was 6 active team members and we hit just over 5,000 in sales and I promoted to director March 1st of 2012. And it can happen that quick. I mean, I didn't fast track. I didn't even know that was a thing back when I started. If I had known, I might have pushed for it, but no one was pushing that back then. You know, now it's all fast track, fast track, fast track. And I'm like, I wish someone would have pushed me. I probably would have had a goal and done it. But the thing is that it can happen the moment you decide, I'm going to build a business. I do want to be a director. You know what? I want to be able to quit my full-time job and just do this. What is the fastest way to do that? Building a team. Okay, so recruiting is just a conversation, and it's really great because you don't have to be perfect, and you can totally screw up. You really can't say anything wrong. All you're doing is you're helping a potential consultant decide if this is something that's right for them. I will tell you this. We as consultants have a tendency to word vomit on potential people because we say, oh my gosh, you need to do this, blah, 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 right? We throw a ton of information at them and they go, yeah, no, I'm good. Because they're terrified. So that's what we want to try not to do. So the way to do that is just to follow a 7-question recruiting flyer. Now, Pampered Chef has some resources on Consultants Corner. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But the key is to ask questions and make sure that the person that you're talking to does 80% of the talking. So you want to ask a question, give them a chance to answer, and just shut up. You know, because we'll think you have to do this and this is why and you need to and oh my gosh, did you see it? And blah, 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 blah. That's not what they want, you know. So I always say, you know, let's just have a quick conversation and see if Pampered Chef could be a good fit for you and if you would be good for the Pampered Chef. Because not everyone is going to be good at this. And honestly, you don't have to be selective when you're recruiting, because there are people that will come to you that'll say, okay, I want to do this. And you're like, all right, let's do it. And then they don't do a single thing, you know? So I'm a little bit selective. I want quality over quantity, although quantity works too, because the quantity is going to get you to the quality, right?
Right.
The statistics with any direct sales is that 1 in 10 people that you ask to join your team will say yes. Okay, so that's 9 people are going to tell you no. So set yourself up for that and just get to your 10, right? The other thing is that once you've added them to your team, 1 out of every 10 is going to actually want to do this as a career. So you're going to have 5 that are going to do nothing. Okay, so out of your 10, you're going to have 5 that are going to do nothing. Just that's the way it's going to go. Out of the 5 that are left, 3 are going to do are going to be a little consistent. Maybe your 2 shows a month kind of people. They're going to be your hobbyists. 1 of those is going to be like, all right, I can do 1 show a week. And then the other one's going to be like, all right, I can make bank 2 shows a week. That's your odds. So 1 in 10 is going to be a rock star. 2 in 10 is going to put you, you know, and the other 3 are going to be hobbyists. 5 are going to do nothing. And that's where, you know, I always say don't get discouraged. Just know it's a numbers game, and you want your numbers high. So I'd say ask everyone. So these are the 7 questions that you can ask someone when you're wanting to get to know them and see if Pampered Chef could be a good fit for you. So tell me, Chris, what is it about the Pampered Chef that interests you? Then you would wait for the reply. What type of qualities do you think, what type of qualities do you have that you think would make a great consultant? Oh, I love to cook, I love to entertain, you know, I've been shopping Pampered Chef for 20 years. Whatever they tell you, that's awesome. When you look at your calendar over the next 6 to 8 weeks, do you think you have 4 to 6 nights that you could do shows either in your home or you could leave your home to do a Pampered Chef party? Because you want them to get kicked off with a great start. So even if you're pushing virtual shows, okay, do you have time that you're online on Facebook over the next month and a half that you could book 5 or 6 virtual parties with people, family and friends that don't live in the area? You know, adapt it to whatever kind of consultant you're trying to recruit. Okay, on the days that you have shows, do you have someone who can watch your, or first you probably might want to ask them, do they have small kids at home, or, you know, what's their home situation like? Because on the days that you have shows, do you have someone who can watch your kids? Most people will say their husband or their wife, if you're recruiting a man, will have you discussed this with your husband or wife, and how does he or she feel about you starting your business? Because a lot of times what happens is the woman's going to ask permission. They're going to ask permission before they jump and say they're going to do it, right? Men are going to jump in and not ask. They'll tell, hey, look what I just did. That's statistics. So with the women, you want to say, have you talked to your husband? Because when I talked to Stephen about it, he was like, do it. Fine, that's fine, whatever you want to do. And then you want to find out what type of training works best for them. Because you want to be able to start right away if they like to talk on the phone, if they like to do independent training, if they like to come to a training, you know, if they want to be able to do it all on Facebook. And then once you've asked those first 6 questions, recap it for them. So here's the example. Well, Pam, it's clear to me that Pampered Chef would be a great fit for you. You have so many qualities to help you build a successful business, because I know you love to cook and you've used our products for 20 years. So you probably have more knowledge than I do about them. You know, and you clearly have some time that you could work your business consistently, and you have some great support at home. And it looks like you have the money to invest in your kit. So my last question is, when do you want to get your first paycheck? Or, so what do you think? Are you ready to get started? Or something like this. So at this point, do you need information on how to sign up, or do you need more time to think about it? Because sometimes what they need is they just need to know how to do it, right? So this video here, it's a YouTube video that I will post into the team page so that you can, this is from Jennifer, oh God, what is her last name? Jennifer does a lot of really great videos, so I usually steal most of her stuff because she's already done it. And I'm like, oh, I should redo this, but yeah, I'm good. And then also there is a 7-question document that's actually got the lines all on there. If you go to this little tiny cc.com, you can also find information on the 7-question questionnaire on Consultants Corner to be able to ask. And it's going to be called Recruiting Chat. I think it's how they've renamed it. But there's also these interview cards. If you have not already purchased them off of a supply order, they're super. Oh, my purse is not in here. I keep them in my purse because when I do a recruiting conversation, I like to do it in person if I can. So let's say I've met someone at a show who says that they're interested in doing something like Pampered Chef. I'll usually say, well, do you have a time that we could meet in person, maybe grab coffee or sweet tea, because that's what I like. I'll buy you a coffee and just talk about it and see if this could be a good fit. Or if not, I'll say, well, do you have a time we can talk on the phone? Because I would prefer in person because I can gauge them a little bit better. But on Consultants Corner, there is printable cards. So if you don't want to pay the $2 to have the cards laminated that they did and sent to you, you can print them yourself on cardstock and do your own thing with it. Bring them to Bobby's house on Monday and she'll laminate them. But then there's also a sample script that you can use for, oh, my Adobe's saying it failed to update. Thank you, Adobe. There's also a sample script that you can use that walks through through how to do that whole process. So on the interview cards instructions, there's actual instructions here. So do you know what to say or do? And it's going to walk you through all of those. But don't freak out. It's just a conversation. And at the end of the day, you just want to get to know them, because if they decide that Pampered Chef is not a good fit for them and they haven't already hosted for you yet, this is a good segue to say, you know what, that's fine. You can definitely think about it, but why don't we go on ahead and schedule your own party so you can watch what I do from the consultant perspective, because then you're going to get a booking. And then if they decide they want to join, now they can save $50 on their new consultant kit, right? Because now they've watched. What I find happens is when I'm doing a show, nobody is there watching me as the consultant to go, oh, I'm totally going to do this like Christina's doing, right? It's after the fact they go, oh, I could do this. And then they're thinking, I don't know what the heck she did while she was here. Right?
Right.
So then it's like, okay, let's do a show so you can watch what I did, because it's really, really easy. And I actually do follow the scripts. If you look at the 5x7 scripts that Pampered Chef gives, I think they're in here somewhere. I've rearranged my office since Brittany moved in, so I don't know where half my crap is. Because my office is now in my bedroom. Here we go. But I found them. Okay, these are old ones. No, those are not in. Here's doing something crazy. It's in this deck. So when you get your new consultant kit, there are these 5x7 cards that have like, welcome to your new consultant kit. And on here, it gives you recipes right away to get started. But it also gives you a party outline. Did you ever see this in your kit?
Yes.
You can follow this verbatim. So if you were to actually take these first 5, 6, 7, it's going to walk you through your entire show. So I know that my show seems a little crazy, or doesn't seem crazy. I actually do the same show every single time. I start with introducing myself, right? And then I thank my host and guests for coming. And then I talk about, throughout, I say, watch what I do. You might fall in love. This one, I love the word choices here, and I always forget to use it. So maybe I should bring these back out, because it says, throughout the party, you'll probably fall in love with several products, and you may even start to wonder how much you can make doing what I do. When this happens, let's chat. Super simple, right? So then I divide them into stations. That's the next card. And then I quickly touch on things at certain stations, and then I check in with them, and then I say, you guys were amazing tonight. Look at all of you, all your hard work, blah, blah, blah. Didn't our host pick a yummy recipe? Whatever it is, talk about your specials. So I actually follow this, but I mix it up a little bit. But this is something that Pampered Chef gives you. So if you're just getting started or you're brand new, you can hold these the entire time. And when people see you holding them and flipping to move on to the next one, they're going to go, oh my God, I could totally do this. All she's doing is reading from cards. Not that you want to always read from cards, but when you do it enough, you're not going to need the cards anymore. So that makes it really, really easy to be duplicatable. But yeah, so we're still working on our skills. So remember our 4 pillars of success: belief in our company, belief in our products, belief in our host program, your passion being, you're passionate about the products. Are you passionate about recruiting? Has this business done something for your family that you would not have been able to do without it? For us, we paid off all of our credit card debt my first year. That was a big deal. And I wasn't telling people about that, but people are in a ton of credit card debt. If they could do 1 or 2 parties a week and get out from under $15,000 worth of debt, do you think that's something to get passionate about? Yeah. If they could actually have a savings account or take the kids on a family vacation every single year because you've got extra money that you weren't budgeting to something, is that something that you could get passionate about? So think about, what has Pampered Chef done for you and your family specifically that you can share with people? Because, when you're doing your talks, you can always say, I don't know who in the room is 1 paycheck away from being bankrupt. Because, statistically, that the families that go bankrupt are only $383 a month away from filing bankruptcy. $383. That's 2 shows. Those are some big statistics. We have an amazing opportunity to be able to make some serious money and have a company and a product that's amazing. So your skills are things that you can always improve on. You can improve on your skills by reading by taking online classes, by observing other people, by conference calls, by trainings like this. Those are ways to increase your skills. And skills are such a major component to your success, because as you are learning more about these things, I always say readers are leaders. When you're reading and you're constantly learning new things, you're going to retain it more. I'm a visual person, so that's why I do the PowerPoints with the talk, because people like to hear multiple ways. Maybe you prefer graphs and pictures and words on a screen than just a conversation, but find what works for you and find someone who's offering some training that you can tap into that's going to be a help to you. The bigger your skill, the bigger your paycheck. That's true. Okay, so this is something that I would suggest for you to do, is practice recruiting on your best friend. Okay, it sounds like a little wonky. Pick a couple of best friends, say, hey, I'm learning this new skill with Pampered Chef, and I just want to test one of these scripts on you. And pull out one of those booking or recruiting or whatever scripts that Pampered Chef already has in place for us, and say, this is what I did with my best friend, and I actually ended up recruiting her because I practiced on her. And she was with me for about 2 years, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. But I think she's going to come back because I could use her and she could use this. But when you're talking to them and you say, okay, I want you to answer every single question as a hard no. I'm not going to change your mind. All right, then go through the script again. Okay, I want you to answer me with a maybe and see if I can convince you to change your mind. Right? Because then it's going to help you think of words that you can say to, but I really don't have the money. Okay, well, do you? And always try to come up with a reason to rebuttal that. And then on the last one, always ask them to say yes to everything, and then that's going to really give you a boost before you hang up the phone and call the next person. So I did this. Stephen was always my person I would ask all the questions to, because he would give me the hardest questions and the hardest answers, and I think that's why I'm so good now at talking people into things, because he would always go, and he would just be like, hard on me, and I was like, but you're supposed to answer it this way, and he was like, well, how are you going to know how to answer someone else if they answer like I am? Okay, but develop something personal about your business. So find something that Pampered Chef has done for you that you can share with other people. So maybe for you, you don't necessarily care about the money, but maybe you've created some great friendships because of this business, and maybe you're meeting people who could use some more friends, who could use someone in their corner, whatever it is. Watch and listen to home office trainings, of course. Come to our team meetings, and do all these trainings, because these kind of things, and I know it always says go to conference, just because I always push that, because I want like 3 rooms full of people at conference.
So this was your conference call?
This is my conference call, and I'm still doing it, and it's recording you right now. Get out of here. Okay, so there is, I don't know if the tips from the top are still on Wednesdays. I know that there is a Saturday. This PowerPoint was last year's. I always just do the same class over and over again, about once a quarter. I do the same 6 weeks, because there's always different people that chime in. And this is probably the 6th one I've done since I did the PowerPoint. But now there is a coffee talk on Saturdays that is amazing, and it's a 15-minute call on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. If you're not seeing the information for those, let me know. I'll start posting them. YouTube trainings are huge. Reading books on recruiting or sharing the business or direct sales for dummies, something like that is going to help you to be able to find what you need to do. And always do lots of shows, because you get better at sharing with every single party. And of course, the more people you're in front of gets you to your 10 that you can ask. So you'll have your 1 that says yes. And when you have your next 10, and when you start getting really good and you have 10 people at a party, that's 1 person from that party could use extra money. And then you can say stuff like this. Now, in a party this size, there's at least 2 or 3 of you guys who are going to want to have your own party, and I would love to come take care of you. But there's going to be at least 1 or 2 of you who are thinking, you know what? I could totally use some extra money. So if that's you tonight, just let me know. Whatever it is, super simple, because you know your odds are going to be 1 in 10. So this is where, and I think Bobby posted it earlier, like earlier in the year, how you can track your shows. But if you track the number of people at your shows, and you can actually find that there's a tracker on Consultants Corner, but you can track the number of people at your show, the number of people who took home information on Pampered Chef, the number of people that joined your team or booked a party, and then that's going to, once you start doing that for like 3 months in a row, then you can see what your odds are. So if I know that if I'm going to call, I know my odds for getting someone to book a show is 1 in 7. because it takes me 7 phone calls before I get a yes. Or because if I've made 14 phone calls, I'm going to get 2 parties booked. So because I track it, so I know what my odds are. So in order to know what your odds are, track it. Because when you're tracking it, it keeps it in front of you. And then you can know, okay, I only had 4 people at this last show. So I didn't have anyone who took home information yet because I haven't gotten to my 10. Or I didn't have anyone book a party yet because I didn't have enough of a pool of people. So, okay, let me go back and do some more host coaching for my next host so I can get 10 people there. And then when I have my 10 people there, okay, now I booked 2 parties from those 10 people. Okay, so now I know my odds. I can book 2 and 10. So now maybe you can go back to that party that had 4 people, reach back out to your host or reach back out to the guest and say, hey, you know, I know we talked about possibly getting together. Let's do a party. Then you know, okay, I've got my 1 in 5. If you know your odds can be 2 and 10. But skills are easily taught and they're easily caught because you can learn them and take them and do them. Do you have any questions about this training?
No questions.
Easy breezy. All right, we got some homework. This one is my absolute favorite audio. I listen to it all the time. Top Recruiters Tell All. The original one was by Jillian Grant. If you can find that on YouTube. Phenomenal. I listened to it the entire first year of my business. I added 23 people that year to my team. So Top Recruiters Tell All. This one is with Brenda Copey and Genevieve Black. They're also really great, but I'm telling you, Jillian Grant was a #1 recruiter for a lot of years. She was my bug in my ear with recruiting. She is on YouTube. All of her stuff is still out on YouTube. So if you YouTube Jillian Grant Recruiting, you'll find some stuff because she's amazing. But this one is found on Pampered Chef under Pampered Chef University. In the recruiting section, there's Pure Resources right there. So listen to that audio this week. It's about 45 minutes long. So if you've got to commute or if you have downtime before you're, going to shows or whatever, download it to your phone. It's an MP3 or it's a WAV file, so it's audio. You can download it and listen to it later. And that's it. So of course, as always, homework that I never get. How many shows do you commit to book this week? How many host coaching calls do you have coming up? Set a time to discuss. How many leads did you get? How many bookings did you get from your shows this week? What were your sales? What is something that you're having trouble with? And what is something you want to brag about? Do you have any trouble or brags that you want to talk through tonight?
The only trouble I have is getting people to call me back. I leave text messages. And
okay.
Most of the time I don't get them on the phone. I leave a voicemail and then I follow up with a text message like 10 minutes later or something. That's my biggest downfall.
Okay. Are you following back up within 2 or 3 days to see if they got your voicemail?
Yeah. Then a week and then 2 weeks. And then,
okay. Are you friends with them on Facebook?
Some of them.
I always try different ways. So I'll leave a voicemail, I'll send a text, I'll send a Facebook message. If they don't respond to any of those, I'll shoot them a quick email. Hey, just trying to reach out to you. Hope all is okay. Blah, blah, blah. I left you a voicemail. Just wanted to make sure you got it.
Okay.
So do that cycle, and eventually they'll either call you back and tell you they're good, call you back and say, oh my gosh, Chris, I've been so busy. Thank you so much for the reminders. I've been meaning to call you. Right? It's going to be one of those 2 things. It might take a month.
I have done a couple of those, yeah.
But life gets busy. And honestly, if you leave your voicemails where you say something like this, hi, Susie, it's Chris with the Pampered Chef. I know you're crazy busy right now, but I just want to touch base with you and see how you were liking the products that you got from Angela's party 2 weeks ago. So if I don't hear back from you in a day or so, I'm just going to reach back out again and make sure that you've gotten your products and that you love them. Hope you're having a great day. You've already told them on the voicemail, you're calling them back.
Right.
So when you call back in 3 days, you say, hi, Susie, it's Chris with the Pampered Chef. Man, you are tough to get a hold of. I'm just trying to make sure you're loving your products that you got from Angela's party. Give me a call or just shoot me a quick text so I know you got them and you've taken them out of the box. And if I don't hear from you in the next day or so, I'm just going to reach back out. So they're going to know that, and then they're going to go, next time he calls, hey, Chris. Yeah, I know I've gotten your voicemails. I'm so sorry. Yes, I love my products. Awesome. Then you can talk to them about more stuff. But if you tell them what you're going to do, actually do it. The saying with direct sales is the fortune is in the follow-up. And if you're not doing the follow-up, then why just throw the lead away and throw it in the trash.
Right.
Okay, so that's this training. Easy breezy. Alrighty, let me stop the recording. If you guys have any questions, if you're actually watching these later, then ask any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And I'll post the homework in the event page so you guys can have that too. Chris, do you still want me to email you the PDF?
Yeah, please, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'll send it to you.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
Have a good one. Happy Father's Day, Chris. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.